Hi children, we have already seen how animals are divided into four groups: herbivores, plant-eating animals; carnivores, flesh-eating animals; omnivores, animals that eat plants as well as flesh; scavengers are animals that eat the dead organisms. This way, all the animals on this planet, they fall under one group or the other. I even told you to think over that. Take an example of an animal, find out into which group it should be put. Is it an omnivore? Is it a herbivore? Whatever it be. Now we will move ahead. Second part of the same lesson. How do animals eat? The subject is, how do animals eat? Look at the animals. It's really a wonder. It is surprising to know that each animal eats in its own way. Each animal eats in its own way. It's a matter that surprises us. We will see in this lesson. If a snake is swallowing a rat, you will stand there without making noise and you will keep on watching. If you have the cell phone of your dad, you will call your dad and get it pictographed, recorded, because it is such a beautiful scene. It eats or swallows the animal as a whole, isn't it? Let us see a few examples around us and study what kind of food habit they have. The first one is the cow. We start usually with the cow because it's a herbivore. Cows and goats bite and swallow their food. Their teeth here right in front, they are sharp. They can cut grass into pieces and they don't chew it. What do? Cut grass is swallowed as a whole. You watch a cow in a meadow. How does it eat? It cuts grass, cut, and goes on swallowing. It never lifts its head. Continuously it eats. What happens later? In cows and goats, whatever they eat, it goes into the stomach. And later, after some time, the animal will go and take rest under a tree. At that time, it brings the food that it has eaten back into the mouth, and starts chewing it. No? You have seen it? It's called as chewing the cud. The grass is in the formation of cuds in the stomach, mixed with saliva and other digestive juices, comes as small packets to the mouth, and in the mouth it chews the cud. Another 2 hours or 3 hours it keeps on chewing the cud and it swallows. Here, lizards and snakes swallow the food. A snake swallows an egg, swallows small animals as a whole. After it reaches the stomach, the snake will start having violent movements of the body. Sometimes it will bind itself around some plant or something, and the food material in its stomach will get broken into pieces. Then digestion takes place. You might have heard about python. Pythons, small cows or a puppy or sometimes even a dog, It just envelops it, holds it tight, then it starts swallowing. Swallowing as a whole, the entire piece, that body will go into the stomach, then it will twirl against a tree, hold it tight, pull it tight. Then due to those random movements, the body of the dog will get broken into pieces. The dog would have died by that time, but the body has to be digested now. After some time, the bones in the body, broken pieces, they are all vomited by the snake. It vomits it out. That's the interesting part here. Lizards and snakes swallow the food. Here, frogs. Frogs use long sticky tongue to catch their prey. It keeps the tongue inside, but when it sends the tongue out, it will be quite lengthy. When an insect comes flying very close to its head, mouth, it keeps quiet, keeps watching, will be on its heels. Suddenly it sends its folded tongue outside. At that time it comes out. The tip part will be very sticky. The insect will get stuck to the tongue, Immediately it withdraws the tongue. Tongue goes in, with that, even the insect is there in the mouth now. Now it chews it and eats. See, the tongue is the functionary part here in the case of the frog. See, all these animals have their food, eat food and swallow or send it in. Accordingly, the mouth structure will be there. The teeth, the tongue, the size of the mouth, the shape of the mouth, all these are dependent on the animal's food habit. We will move to the next now. Here you have cat. Cats, they catch mice and eat. That you have seen. I want to draw your attention to another aspect. Have you seen how do they lap milk? You put milk in a plate and keep, they lap. At a fast rate, the tongue will move in and out, and within no time the plate will be empty. They lap, it is called as lapping. Send the tongue out, some milk will get stuck, try it in, swallow, again send down, like a brush. It is cats and dogs lap milk and water. Frogs use long sticky tongue to catch their prey. What is eaten, what is swallowed is prey. For the cat, mouse is the prey. For a lion, the deer is the prey. So prey means what is caught and eaten. Prey. Come here. Why do giraffes have long necks? A question to you. Why do they have long necks? The picture tells you the secret. See? The giraffe has a long neck. Millions of years ago, they did not have long necks. Later, their necks started becoming longer and longer because they did not get food at lower levels. They were short of food. They were hungry. What to do? They started trying their best to get food which is at a height, the leaves. So their neck started getting elongated, started becoming longer and longer. See, what a long neck the giraffe has. It has the longest neck in the animal world. Come here. Again a picture of the like sort. Elephants and giraffes pull down plants with their long trunks. Elephant especially. It has a trunk. See, this is the trunk. It's standing on two legs. As in a circus, it is trying its best to stand on its two legs. The other two legs are folded here. It's standing straight. The trunk is elongated. It catches hold of the twigs there, branches there, pulls them down. With its mighty force, the branch comes down. Then the elephant will eat the leaves and fill up its tummy. Elephant has a very huge tummy. It needs lot of plant food. Come down. We have the fierce open mouth of a lion here. What do you see there? You see two long teeth in the upper jaw, two long teeth in the lower jaw, like this. They are called as canines. They are called as canines. They help the animal in tearing the flesh. In tearing the flesh. Cats, tigers, leopards, all these have these incisors. A dog has, sorry, not incisor, canines. They have canines. Even dogs have canines. If a dog bites you, there will be a big wound. There will be a big wound. They are canines. They go deep into the flesh. And when it pulls the mouth aside, the part will get torn. Lions and tigers tear the flesh with their canines. That's why dogs are also called as canines. You can call your dog as canine, a biological word. Where is my cute canine? That means your dog. You are speaking about your dog. Here. Rats, rabbits, squirrels. They are almost of the like kind when it comes to the food habits. Know their food. Knowing. See, spelling is G-N-A-W. G is silent. Know. N-A-W. Only that part has to be pronounced. Gnawing. A squirrel gnaws. What is gnawing? A squirrel gets a nut. It gets a nut, let us say. Nut has to be broken open in order to eat the seed inside. Okay? So, it starts gnawing it. It will hold in its hands and with its front long teeth, it will start gnawing it. A rabbit, it has long front teeth. We say rabbit teeth we call. Some of us too, sometimes we have rabbit teeth. Rabbit teeth. If the teeth are bigger here, very big, compared to the rest, we call them as rabbit teeth. Gnawing teeth. You gnaw, and you press, and ultimately it breaks. Rabbits, you can see rabbits gnawing. If they get a fruit, by gnawing, they take bites of food and then eat, chew, and swallow. Okay. Rats, rabbits, and squirrels gnaw their food. It's gnawing its food. You see here. It's holding a nut in its hand. Leech sucks the blood of animals. I don't know. How many of you know about leech? If you go to the Ghats section, especially now in the rainy season, you go to Sringeri, Koppa, Tirthalli, or Agumbe, Hulikal, Charmadi, or Coorg, and you go to the forest area, you will be able to see these leeches. They are thin and small, worm-like, thin and small, but once they come in contact with your skin, leg or hand or any part or back of your body, they get stuck to your skin. And with their small teeth, they catch hold of your skin, make abrasions, they clear the skin a little bit, they cut it, they pour some kind of juice there. You won't find that a leech is pricking you, you won't know at all, because that area is made unconscious. It won't come to know, nerve endings will become numb. We say numb. N-U-M-B, numb. They won't know a leech, you won't know a leech is biting you. And after some time someone will see and tell, or when you want to remove your shoes or chappals, you see there's a long leech stuck to your skin. Such small worm will become such a long one after sucking your blood. Once the part is numb, it will go on sucking, sucking and sucking. It has many chambers in its stomach, gets them all filled up, and it will have enough blood for another 1 or 2 months. Then it falls off your body and it remains quiet for another 1 or 2 months. The blood it has drawn from your body is enough for the next 2 months. See, this is leech. This is human body. Here it has stuck itself to the skin, is it? And now it has drawn enough blood. How do you say? The body has become long and plumpy. Long and plumpy. It drinks blood in a way. A better word is it sucks blood. It knows how to suck the blood. If you open the internet and see, you will be able to see lots of these leeches of different sizes, shapes, and how do people feel, you can see. Okay, butterflies. Butterflies, mosquitoes and bees suck food with their long tube in the mouth. In their mouth, a butterfly will go and sit on a flower. Now it opens its mouth. There will be a long spiral coil like your garden pipe inside. The pipe will come out. It will go and pierce into the flower, move deep inside. There you have nectar. Where is nectar kept? Nectar is kept down inside. So the butterfly itself cannot go there because the path is very narrow. So what should it do? It should send that pipe inside. That thin, long tube, from the mouth it goes inside, reaches the nectar, and from there, like a person drawing some cold juice from a glass, it sucks the nectar. See what a beauty in their feeding capabilities, feeding organs. Each animal has its own way, its own means of getting the food, isn't it? It's all a wonder of nature. We should have eyes to see. Okay, last one here. Here you see worms. Worms in the earth, worms in the soil. If you go to any rice field and just take some soil in your hand and check, the soil will have lots of worms. They are called as earthworms. They are actually friends of the farmers. They make the soil very fertile. What do they eat then? They eat the soil. Soil itself they eat. The soil in the garden or the field or farm, they go on swallowing. It goes into their body. In the body it gets digested. In the soil always dead organisms will be there. Dead organisms. Dead leaves will be there. Dead plant and animal material will be there. That would be absorbed by the animal. The rest, what is called as a waste. What remains is a waste. It is thrown out of the body. But the waste that comes out of the body of the earthworm will be very rich in different enzymes. Enzymes in the body of the earthworm. So more the earthworms in a field, higher the fertility is. We say the soil is very good. These earthworms, they are not our foes, they are not our enemies. These earthworms are the friends of farmers. These earthworms get him a very good result at the end of a season when he harvests. The harvest will be very good because The earthworms make the land very fertile. Okay, we have seen different animals as to how they take in food. Each animal struggles a lot to get its food. It's not a free lunch. No animal gets food as a free lunch. The animal has to struggle hard to get the needed food for its growth, for the energy it requires. The animal needs food. It has to struggle to get that food. That's how we see different animals having different food habits according to their requirements. Thank you.